Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real life situations in Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our background, our history, or whatever interests you. And today I feel like talking a little bit about new fakes that Russian propaganda tries to distribute in the Western world. And my vlog will basically be based on the speech of our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dmytro Kuleba, whom I respect greatly. And recently he has visited the forum in Davos and described the narratives he managed to hear there. And of course, he says that the support of the Western world is obvious and really strong, but at the same time, he has noticed a couple of stories that Russians try to distribute among those who are afraid of Russia traditionally, or who are somehow financially or psychologically or culturally influenced by Russia and its criminal leaders. So, what are these stop fake things that they try to throw into European media to make people doubt whether they should help Ukraine, what kind of victory is acceptable, and so on and so forth. So the very first one was the thing I talked yesterday in my vlog about the Battle of Donbass and Kissinger's speech that Russia is really big and no one can win Russia, and somehow we have to accept its desires. And of course it goes without saying that it is a position of total weakness, and you cannot close your eyes on the crimes that Russia has already committed in Ukraine and in other countries of the world. And of course, having Putin as the president of this state is a real danger for the world for decades. And moreover, unpunished evil grows, and we realize that if he is not prosecuted, if he is not judged for what he does, new dictators will appear even after his death in Russia, and it will be a tragic century or whatever. So the second very popular thing that Russian propaganda tries to terrify the Western world with is that sooner or later the West will be tired of helping Ukraine, and they have lots of other problems, and Ukraine will be left alone with all the problems, with all the destroyed territories, with Russian soldiers, and will have to defeat. But I do believe that all people all over the world realize that it is not just the fight for Ukraine, it is the fight for freedom, for justice, for normality. And I do hope, I do realize that many countries have their own problems, but if we don't stop Russia here in Ukraine, even sacrificing Ukrainian people and Ukrainian infrastructure, this war will continue to other countries. And in general, once again, unpunished evil grows. And I do think that this fact that Russian propagandists who work undercover, of course, in such serious forums, events, conferences, educational institutions, political, cultural, everywhere, of course they do it undercover, and they try to demonstrate a balanced analytical view or something. But in general, this is once again the traditional fear spreading by Russians. And perhaps it also demonstrates that because of this war in Ukraine, Russian war in Ukraine, West is finally united, something that we haven't seen for a really long period of time. And now the United States, the European Union, the United Kingdom, or they all work together. And I do believe that these countries and these unions, they have lots of things in common. And I'm really happy to see them united, and I'm really happy to see them united in these efforts with Ukraine. Also, Russians try to blame Ukraine for the world product crisis, not Ukraine, but sanctions. And they try to bring these ideas that sanctions must be taken off, and then they will deblock the ports in Ukraine, and we will be able to solve this global problem. But once again, why did the sanctions appear? Because Russia attacked Ukraine. And the reason why we have this, why we are approaching this global product crisis is because Russia invaded Ukraine, not because of sanctions. Sanctions did not appear because people did not like Russia or their Botox president or whatever. The real reason for sanctions is the invasion. As soon as Russians leave, pay for what they have done here, no sanctions. And of course, stealing grains, blocking ports, blocking the sea. This is the reason, not just Ukraine and sanctions. We always have to be able to see the reason for everything. But there are people, of course, those people who traditionally sympathize Russia, who try to spread these ideas that Ukraine and sanctions are to blame for the world crisis and people in Africa will die because of the sanctions. No, because Russia invaded Ukraine. As soon as Russia leaves Ukraine, as soon as we win, they pay for what they've done, then the sanctions can be off. And the final thing, and I have heard it even from some of people I know in Europe, who tell me that if it is so difficult and you speak about so many different human tragedies, you describe how difficult it is for people to fight this war, why don't you surrender? Why don't you start negotiating? How many more Ukrainian sacrifices you need to stop this war? This is not the war that we started, but we cannot stop this war giving up our territories and saying, okay, so many thousands of Ukrainians died, so many cities destroyed, but let's talk. It's impossible to talk with someone who killed half of your family. It's impossible to talk with someone who breaks every possible international law. It's impossible to negotiate with someone who wants to destroy the world order that actually existed to a more or less extent for a pretty long period of time. So I think it is totally useless to speak about negotiations with Russia or Ukraine giving up. It is just like to advise a family violence victim to accept that her husband beats her and one day will kill her, but don't make loud noises in your house or whatever. I think it's total nonsense, and only people who have never experienced real tragedies, experienced war, injustice can speak of things like that. People who are really far away from the information, what is going on here. And personally, I cannot imagine how in any normal world can someone sit at one table or even talk over the phone with President Putin. But still, knowing that there are many corrupt politicians, even in the West, there are many people who were fed by Russian oligarchs for decades. They try to spread these messages, and many people who do not follow closely the events in Ukraine, who don't see how different we are, or who simply care about these minor things, may try and accept these narratives and spread them more and more. So I really believe it's important for us not to lose the connection and to understand that both the West and Ukraine need each other in this fight against darkness, against totalitarian, truly Nazi regime of Putin. And I'm very grateful for your comments of support. I'm really grateful for your interest to my country, for your subscriptions, for everything that you do. So once again, I really value our conversations, and please let me know what are the other things you would like to know about my country, about our people. And once again, a big thank you for all the supporters. And if you're first to my channel for the first time, please subscribe, because every subscription makes me really happy. Slava Ukraini!